Oh Lord, it's good to be here with you. Imagine this. You're sitting across from your best friend at your favorite coffee shop, the one you haven't seen in like 3 months because life got crazy, and they're telling you something important. You can see it in their face, the way their eyes are searching yours for understanding, for validation, for something real, and then your phone buzzes in your pocket, and without even thinking about it, you glance down at the screen. It's nothing, just some random notification about a sale on crap you don't even need. But when you look back up, something has changed. The moment is gone, murdered in cold blood, and your friend is already pulling back, already checking their own phone. And you both know what just happened, even though neither of you says anything about it. That was me 2 years ago, and I didn't even realize how bad it had gotten until my oldest friend sat me down and said something I'll never forget. He looked at me with this mix of frustration and sadness and said, "Dude, I feel like I'm competing with your phone every time we hang out, and I'm losing." That hit different, like really different, because in that moment, I realized I'd been choosing a glowing rectangle over the people who actually gave a damn about me. And I'd been doing it for years without even noticing. I used to think I was just staying connected, keeping up with what was happening in the world. But the truth was way more uncomfortable than that. I was using my phone as an emotional crutch, a way to avoid being fully present, because being fully present felt vulnerable and sometimes boring, and honestly kind of scary. Before we go any further, if this is hitting home for you, do me a favor and subscribe to Confident Connection Lab. We're building something real here, a community of people who are tired of letting their devices dictate their relationships and who want to actually connect with human beings again. Hit that subscribe button because we're just getting started, and trust me, what's coming is going to help you transform how you show up in your relationships. Now, I need you to do something else for me. Drop a comment right now and tell me where you're watching this from. What city, what country, what random corner of the world are you in right now? Because I want to know who's in this community, who's taking this journey with me. And honestly, I just think it's cool to see how many people are struggling with the same stuff I struggled with. So here's what I learned after I got called out by my friend and decided to actually do some research instead of just feeling bad about myself. This is brutal. Studies show that phone addiction doesn't just distract us from conversations. It fundamentally rewires how we connect with people. Researchers found that when we prioritize digital interactions over face-to-face contact, we lose the ability to read social cues, to respond to real emotions, to build actual empathy. Like, we become worse at being human. One study I came across showed that teenagers who spent more than 4 hours a day on their phones reported significantly lower quality relationships with family and friends, more emotional detachment, and get this, they felt lonelier despite being constantly connected online. That's the cruel irony of the whole thing. We're using our phones to feel less alone, but the phones are making us more isolated. I remember this one specific moment that really drove it home for me. I was at a birthday party for someone I cared about, and I found myself in the bathroom scrolling through social media, looking at pictures of other people at other parties, while there was a real party with real people happening 20 feet away from me. How messed up is that? I was literally avoiding real connection by consuming fake connection. And I didn't even see the problem until later that night, when I realized I couldn't remember a single meaningful conversation I'd had at that party. Not one. Because I hadn't been there, not really. My body was there, sure, but my attention, my presence, my ability to actually show up for people, that was scattered across a dozen different apps, chasing dopamine hits that lasted about 3 seconds each. The thing that really got me, the thing that made me realize this wasn't just about being rude or distracted, was understanding that my phone use was killing my ability to be vulnerable. Real connection requires presence, and presence requires vulnerability, and vulnerability feels uncomfortable, so we reach for our phones. We fill every quiet moment, every potential awkward pause, every second of uncertainty with our devices. But those uncomfortable moments, Those are where real friendship happens. Those are where deep conversations start. Those are where you actually connect with another human being on a level that matters. And I was systematically destroying all of those opportunities because I couldn't sit with discomfort for 5 seconds without checking my notifications. Here's what nobody tells you about phone addiction and social life. It's not just about the time you spend on your phone, it's about what that time represents. Every time you choose your phone over the person in front of you, you're sending a message. You're saying, whatever is on the screen is more important than you. And maybe you don't mean it that way. Maybe you're just bored or anxious or habitually checking stuff. But that's how it lands. That's what the other person feels. And over time, those little moments add up, and people stop trying to connect with you because they know they're going to lose to a device. I lost count of how many times I chose scrolling through garbage online over having real conversations with people I claimed to care about. And by the time I realized what I was doing, some of those relationships were already damaged. So that was my wake-up call. The moment I realized my phone wasn't helping me connect with people, it was actively preventing it. And in the next chapter, I'm going to break down exactly what I did about it. The 3 simple rules that completely transformed my social life and helped me rebuild the relationships I'd been neglecting. But for now, I just want you to sit with this question. How many real moments have you missed because you were staring at a screen? Don't stress about it, we're all in this together, but be honest with yourself. Because the first step to fixing this problem is admitting you have one. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to Confident Connection Lab, because what's coming next is going to change how you think about your phone, your relationships, and your ability to actually be present with the people who matter most. All right, so after my friend basically told me I was choosing a glowing rectangle over human connection, I did what any self-respecting millennial does when they hit rock bottom. I went down a research rabbit hole at 2 a.m. I read everything I could find about phone addiction, social connection, and why my brain seemed physically incapable of putting the stupid device down for more than 30 seconds. And after weeks of trying complicated systems and failing spectacularly at all of them, I stumbled onto 3 ridiculously simple rules that actually worked. Like, genuinely transformed my entire social life kind of worked. And the best part? They're so simple, you'll probably think I'm joking. But I promise you, these 3 things changed everything for me. Rule number 1 is what I call the 2-minute presence rule. And it's based on research that shows if you can give someone just 2 minutes of completely undistracted attention at the start of an interaction, you set the tone for genuine connection. Here's how it works. When you're with someone, whether it's your partner in the morning, your friend at coffee, or your kid when they get home from school, you give them 2 full minutes of eye contact and presence before you even think about touching your phone. No checking notifications, no glancing at the screen, no just 1-second excuses. 2 minutes of being fully there. I know it sounds stupidly simple, but when I started doing this, people literally commented on it. My girlfriend said I seemed different. My friends said they felt more heard. And honestly, I felt different too. Those 2 minutes set an intention that says, you matter more than whatever is on this screen. And once you establish that, the rest of the interaction flows so much better. The crazy part is how hard it is at first. Like your hand will literally itch to grab your phone. But that discomfort is exactly what you need to push through. Rule number 2 is the phone graveyard strategy. And this one saved my dinner conversations from complete extinction. The rule is simple. When you're in a social setting, your phone goes somewhere specific and intentional, and it stays there until the interaction is over. For me, that meant my phone goes in my bag or in another room, or face down in my pocket, anywhere that requires a deliberate choice to retrieve it. Not on the table where you can see notifications light up the screen. Not in your hand where you can just check one thing, but genuinely away from your immediate reach. I started doing this at restaurants, and the difference was night and day. Suddenly, I was actually tasting my food, noticing when my date laughed at something I said, catching subtle expressions that I'd been missing for years. One time I forgot and left my phone on the table, and I watched myself instinctively reach for it 3 times in 10 minutes, even though nothing was happening on it. That's when I realized my phone habit wasn't about the phone at all. It was about avoiding presence, avoiding vulnerability, avoiding the slight discomfort of just existing with another person without distraction. Rule number 3 is what I call the return window. And this might be the most important one because it addresses the root cause of why we're so addicted to our phones and social settings. The rule is, you get 1 5-minute phone check per hour when you're with people, and you announce it beforehand. You literally say, hey, I need to check my phone for a few minutes, is that cool? And then you actually check whatever you need to check, and then you put it away for another hour. This rule does 2 things that are absolutely critical. First, it eliminates the anxiety of thinking you're missing something urgent because you know you have a designated time to check. Second, it makes your phone use conscious instead of compulsive. When I started doing this, I realized that 90% of the time, there was nothing urgent on my phone at all. I was just checking it out of habit, out of fear of missing out of that weird dopamine-seeking behavior that social media apps are literally designed to exploit. But when I had a specific window to check, suddenly my brain relaxed, and I could actually be present because I knew I wasn't cutting myself off from the world forever, just for 1 hour at a time. Here's what happened when I implemented these 3 rules consistently for 30 days. My relationships got deeper, my conversations got longer and more meaningful, and I stopped feeling like I was constantly divided between the physical world and the digital one. My girlfriend and I started having actual conversations again, instead of sitting next to each other, scrolling through our respective feeds. My friends started inviting me to more stuff because I wasn't the guy who showed up physically, but spent half the time checking his phone. And weirdly, I felt less anxious overall because I wasn't constantly fragmenting my attention across 12 different apps and 100 different conversations. The research backs this up too. Studies show that even the mere presence of a phone on the table reduces the quality of conversation and the level of trust between people, even if nobody touches it. Just knowing it's there makes us less present, less empathetic, less human. I'm not going to sit here and tell you these rules are easy to follow every single time, because they're not. I still mess up. I still reach for my phone when I'm uncomfortable. I still have moments where I choose the screen over the person. But the difference is now I notice when I'm doing it, and I can course correct in the moment instead of going through entire social interactions on autopilot. The goal isn't perfection, it's intention. It's about recognizing that every time you choose presence over distraction, you're building a muscle that makes the next choice easier. And over time, those choices compound into a completely different quality of life, a completely different level of connection with the people who actually matter. So here's my challenge to you. Pick one of these 3 rules and try it for 1 week. Just 1 rule, just 7 days. See what happens to your relationships, see what happens to your conversations, see what happens to how you feel about yourself and your ability to connect. I promise you, if you actually do this instead of just nodding along and forgetting about it 10 minutes from now, you'll notice a difference. And if this resonated with you, if you're ready to actually change how you show up in your relationships, subscribe to Confident Connection Lab right now. We're building a community of people who are done letting their devices dictate their social lives, and I want you to be part of it. Hit that subscribe button because we've got more coming that's going to help you build genuine connection in a world that's increasingly designed to prevent it. Your relationships are worth 2 minutes of presence. Your friendships are worth putting your phone in another room. You are worth breaking the addiction that's been stealing your ability to actually be with people. Now go practice these rules, and I'll see you in the next one.